Do you know how this is called? Russian people finally waking up.
Моего дома больше нет. Не могу в это поверить. Ребят, возите, выезжайте как можете. Говорят, сейчас вот я уже двое людей мне написали, что получается заехать, выехать, забрать какие-то документы для людей, животных и так далее. Не бросайте животных тут, пожалуйста. Не верю. Господи.
What's happening in the west of Russia, in Kursk province, right now? Are the Ukrainians advancing? Or perhaps the Russians are pushing back? Are the local residents fleeing or staying? What the heck is going on? I can describe this situation in one simple word: chaos. Right now, I will make an update on what happened in Kursk region on August 8th. Before I start, let me tell you, my head is spinning. What's happening right now in Russian informational space is beyond madness. Russian top officials make statements that contradict what they said just a few days ago. Russian government is appealing to the international community, where at the same time they're doing it the very same in Ukraine. And when Ukraine appealed to the international community for the very same reason, they simply laughed. Russian officials making statements that contradict reality, and some of them are acting as if they have gone mad. If I were to describe in one sentence what's happening right now, I would say most Russians are acting as if Ukraine treacherously invaded Russia out of the blue, and they don't understand why. As if they had no clue that Russia has been waging the war onto Ukraine since February of 2022. Folks, this is madness. I cannot explain this. I don't know how to. Where do I start? Now, if you look at inside Russia right now, you will see three things. They are shock, fail, and chaos. Let me start with shock. For the past 30 months, most Russian people have been living in informational bubbles of denial that they built around themselves. I've talked about it many times in my live streams. You know, when I ask them, what do you think of this? Oh, I don't know anything about it. Well, let me explain. Let me inform you. I know. Oh, no, please don't do that. I don't want to know anything about that. Why? Well, I live in my world. If I start learning about these things, I go crazy. That's the conversations I've had numerous times with people who are still inside Russia. And I predicted many times that sooner or later their bubbles will burst. The longer they stay inside their bubbles, the bigger the pain they will be going through in the future. Well, this is it. The bubbles started bursting, and people got shocked. For the past 2 years, I was the one trying to get through to them. You know, I was calling them. I was trying to inform them, yelling at them, knocking on their doors. Today, the tide has turned. They started calling me to learn if I know anything of what's happening in Kursk. And by the way, they can't learn anything on YouTube any longer. Today, Russian government blocked YouTube completely on desktop computers. Goodbye, YouTube, you know. So people are shocked. Most somehow, and it beats me why, thought that the war would never come to Russian territory. Now people are in a state of shock. And I talk of people who live far away from Kursk province, from where the actual war is happening on Russian territory. Many Russian officials are also in shock, and that for a very same reason. let's forget about shock. The thing that is much bigger than shock is called fail. Well, I call it fail. And let me start with something I want to show you. This is it.
Все успокаиваемся, берем попкорн и спокойно наблюдаем за тем, как наши уничтожают.
Apti Aladinov is a tough man. The head of the Chechen fighters, Akhmat Battalion, he doesn't joke around, you know. I'm going to take his advice. I'm taking my popcorn, I'm sitting back, and I'm gonna watch. Real American popcorn, Uzbek style, Uzbek size. Whoops. Popcorn. Okay. Let's watch Mr. Aladinov speak 48 hours later. The same guy, the same place, the same topic, and almost the same time.
Интересно, все ребята, которые наши подразделения Ахмат, другое, которое здесь находилось на границе, вот что интересно, они все до сих пор находятся на своих позициях. Противник, получается, разнес два мапа, вот, прошел, вначале прошел уже без, как говорится, мапов, через участки, где большое расстояние от наших опорных пунктов было, вот, прошел там, потом техникой, как говорится, уже напрямую подскочил.
So, Mr. Aladinov, I'm having my popcorn right here. Nice, thank you for the advice. Having popcorn and watching. So basically, he said that the Ukrainian armed forces and the Chechens simply missed each other at the border. Moreover, those fellas at the border are still at the border, in the same place they were when the Ukrainians were passing by. And the Ukrainians are taking more and more territories right now of Russia. But I wonder why those brave men are still sitting at the border, not too far away. Okay, they might have missed the Ukrainians, but now they know where the Ukrainians are and what exactly is going on. I'm telling you, folks, this is madness. My head is spinning. But who am I to ask these questions? You know, I'll have popcorn. So thank you for the advice, Mr. Ladino. Sitting right here, having my popcorn, watching the show. And as for fighting, believe it or not, nothing has changed in 3 days. The Ukrainian forces are pushing forward. They have encircled the town of Sudja, and they are advancing. Check this out.
Вот выезжаем, забрали еще попутчиков, вот людей с собакой, полная машина, люди еще просятся ехать, но некуда брать. Ну это танки наши ездили, все пораскорочили.
These people are fleeing the town of Sudja, and basically they're showing what's going on around them. They talk about intense fighting that happened the previous day, and I believe the video was filmed today or perhaps yesterday, I'm not sure about that. And he's showing the cars that were, you know, shot at, and you can see the cars are on the sides of the roads. Bombed, shot. Check this out. So this is war. And they're not happy, they're very scared, and they just want to get out of there as soon as they can. It's absolutely, it's not known who is, the most shocking part is right here. So, mines, right there on the road. And this is civilians trying to flee Sudja. So basically, the Ukrainian forces are not in Sudja right now, but they're right next to it. Meanwhile, the authorities of Kursk province claim that the Ukrainian army has not advanced a single meter. On the contrary, it is retreating. On August 8th, acting deputy governor of Kursk region Andrei Belostotsky made this statement on the air of Первый канал, Channel 1. His words are not confirmed by anything. Moreover, they are contradicted by those fleeing the front lines in Kursk province and many Z military bloggers who claiming otherwise. But hey, what do they know? The authority said so. Now, the Telegram channel called Rybar, that is very close to the Ministry of Defense, reports that there are separate pockets of resistance in Sudja, mainly local residents, but the city itself is almost under full control of the armed forces of Ukraine. It is claimed that the Ukrainian units control the runabout to the northeast of the city, of the town. Well, this is what propaganda people are reporting, and the authorities are telling otherwise. Now, according to unconfirmed information, Private Army Wagner fighters, or whatever is left of Private Army Wagner, as if you remember, there were remnants. It was broken into pieces, and some pieces were taken by the Ministry of Defense and sent to Africa. So, by the unconfirmed information, Private Army Wagner fighters are heading to Kursk province from Africa. That information appeared in the morning of August 8th in small pro-military Telegram channels who are following the situation closely. Now, the next interesting development, the Russian Railways company, RZD, reported that the train stations at Sudja, Kareneva, Psel are temporarily closed to passengers. I wonder why. They don't want people to evacuate, perhaps. They don't want to send trains to take people out of there. Is anyone organizing evacuations? The European Union has stated that Ukraine can strike Russian troops anywhere. Peter Stano, the official representative of the European Union Foreign Policy Service, made this statement at a press conference in Brussels. A German channel called Deutsche Welle is reporting. And the U.S. State Department spokesman Matthew Miller said at a briefing on August 7th that in conditions where Russia violates the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine, Kyiv makes its own decisions on how to conduct its military operations. Basically, the representative of the U.S. State Department said the same thing. Ukrainians can act at will. The latest news is that the Ukrainians started building fortifications around the town of Sudja. This means that they are not planning to move back to Ukraine. It is not planned as a quick raid. The Ukrainians are to stay in Kursk province for a long time. At least that's what the plans are. But folks, if you want the biggest fail so far, please watch this. I'm going to comment. This is not the first time I'm showing you this. In the live stream yesterday, I explained that this was a briefing of the, well, it was a meeting of a Security Council of Russian Federation. And at least that was the part that was shown to the public. Vladimir Putin met with former and current ministers of defense, Belousov and Shoigu, and that guy sitting right there is the head of the KGB, Bortnikov, and of course, on a big screen, Gasimov, the chief of staff. So unfortunately, I don't have English subtitles, but I'll kind of translate you. Oh, you know, he's basically introducing this situation, what's happening in Kursk, and he is giving the word to Gerasimov, and now you listen to what Gerasimov has to say.
Верховный главнокомандующий, 5 часов 30 минут 6 августа подразделения
Look at Putin, how he's looking, not too happy, not a happy camper.
Вооруженных сил Украины численностью до 1000 человек перешли в наступление с целью захвата участка территории Суджинского района Курской области. Действиями подразделений прикрытия государственной границы совместно с пограничниками и подразделениями усиления, ударами авиации, ракетных войск и огнем.
Look at the KGB guy. Monitor him closely, his reactions to what Gerasimov is saying. I'm going to translate Gerasimov's word just in a second.
Артиллерии продвижение противника вглубь территории на Курском направлении остановлено. В настоящее время подразделения группировки «Север» совместно с пограничными органами ФСБ России продолжают уничтожать противника в районах, непосредственно примыкающих к российско-украинской границе. Потери противника составили...
Look, I like this guy at this situation right here, because the way he is looking at Gerasimov pretty much tells us everything.
315 человек, в том числе не менее 100 убитыми и 215 человек ранеными.
And I think that Putin is looking at Gerasimov in pretty much the very same way.
Уничтожено 54 единицы бронированной техники, в том числе 7 танков. Операция будет завершена разгромом противника и выходом на государственную границу.
Basically, Gerasimov said three things. First, he confirmed that Ukrainians attacked Russian territory and rolled onto Russian soil. Second, he said that, 1,000 Ukrainian forces of around 1,000 troops, which is not true, not 1,000. It's been confirmed. Second part of his message, he said that Russian army was doing everything to stop and have stopped Ukrainians from moving further into Russian territory. Russian aviation, military aviation, artillery, guns, and troops, along with KGB people, the border patrol, that's the KGB belongs to the KGB in Russia, have stopped the Ukrainians. And his part number 3 of his message, he said that we are absolutely sure we will soon push the Ukrainians back to the border. So, to me, and that happened 2 days ago, okay? And to me, that's the biggest fail so far, okay? Because everything that guy said is a lie. Lie. And Bortnikov, the head of the KGB, and Putin, the president of Russia, they know what's going on. And the Minister of Defense, they didn't even show us his face, because that's Gerasimov is the employee of Belousov, the Minister of Defense. They did not show his face once. Oh boy. I tell you what, before I jump to describing the chaos part, which is even more interesting than fail, once again, I would like to thank you, those of you who tune in to watch me every single day. The sponsors, the patrons, those of you who bought me coffees at buymeacoffee.com. Your support shows that you value my work highly, and please know that this is the most powerful positive feedback I can get, and it inspires and gives me energy to move forward. It's not just the coffees that you're buying, okay? It's just, it shows me that what I'm doing something right. So thank you so very much. So, I said shock, I said fail, and I said chaos. Now I'm jumping to chaos. Those Russians who live far from Kursk province are in shock, like I said. But those who live in the Western Russia, near Kursk, in Kursk province, in those towns that are currently under attack or controlled by the Ukrainian forces. Those folks are fleeing in panic and chaos. And we understand why. There's a war around them. People die. People get shot. There are shots fired. And all, Don't check this out. This, what appears, is family trying to get away from shots fired. The shots fired. They're using bad lexic, bad words, but this people, probably for the first time in their lives, they're seeing the war with their own eyes. Okay, folks, don't ever believe anyone in this TikTok age. Believe your eyes. And you just saw what is currently happening in the city of Sudja. And things are not pretty. Would you like to see a reaction of a person who, for the first time in her life, realized that they are lying her on TV? Well, check this out.
Команды стрелять не дают. Ребята видят, они не дают команды стрелять. Не дают.
They lie and lie on TV. They lie. Animals.
Не спасал, люди сами спасались.
No one is supporting us, saving us.
Врут себе медали.
They're animals from the officials from the administration. They just left
Сами спасались.
and then left us hanging.
Сами спасались. И врут, твари, всё.
She keeps calling them animals.
Нас 20
That's pretty bad in Russian.
разбомбили, сожгли дом, сожгли всё, чудом живые.
Said that this is the second time we're being bombed. The first one was 14th of June. And now the animals from the authorities, they just, they left them. Basically, people are on their own. They're not organizing evacuations, nothing. According to her, people are saving or trying to save themselves. In addition, residents who left without humanitarian assistance, they're in trouble. Hundreds of people are queuing for food. Food is collected by the people of the entire Kursk province. But there was a news piece from one of the top officials in Russia, from Denis Manturov, Russia's first deputy prime minister. He claimed yesterday that evacuation assistance, people were being assisted. The assistance was being provided to people, to the residents of the affected territories. Well, Vladimir Putin, when he was meeting at the Security Council, he also met with the government members, and he ordered Denis Manturov to assist people with evacuation and provide them everything they need. And Manturov, replied that yes, he's done that. People are being assisted. But check this out. This is a very interesting video. This is people, local residents. They are addressing Vladimir Putin. They're very emotional. Obviously, they don't know what to do. They're saying that, some foreign state rolled onto the land with a NATO armor on the 6th of August. Now, this is interesting. Said that since the Ukrainians rolled into their land, they were under shelling. They had to flee, they had to run, they had to leave documents behind, they had to leave their homes behind. And I believe them. And it sounds like Ukrainians back in February of 2022 and, over this 30 months. It sounds, I heard stories from Ukrainians here, from Mariupol, from other cities who live in Tashkent, and I heard stories how they were fleeing, and it sounds just like that. They were just running, not thinking about anything, documents or anything like that. And this is what's happening to people in Kursk province.
Хотим обратиться к вам, чтобы вы... Хотим попросить помощи.
We're asking for you for help. We're alone.
Как стрелом. Мы поддержали СВО.
This is interesting.
Мы помогали нашей армии с первых и помогаем, продолжаем помогать с первых дней начала СВО.
So she said very interesting thing here. She said, we have supported SVO, Special Military Operation. That's how they call the war in Russia. We have been helping our soldiers. We have been helping you. We have been helping everyone. We supported. Well, perhaps the question she's asking, why we're alone, why we're going through this, is because the answer she's given herself, because she was supporting. And they were supporting as well. She's too emotional, she can't speak.
Мы остались с детьми, без крова, без выплат, без денег. Мы уехали в чем могли. У нас дети боятся ночью спать.
This lady is crying. She says that they didn't take anything with them. No money, no documents, homes left and destroyed. And they're absolutely left, up in the air, and their children are afraid to sleep at night. And I think that it's the very same thing that people in Ukraine have been going through for a very long time. Now Russians are going through that.
Наши родные остались, мы не можем с ними созвониться, связи никакой нет. Пожалуйста,
No communication. Please help us.
наши земли.
Please help us return our lands.
Наша администрация не работала. Давайте скажем прямо.
Our authorities are not working.
Хочу сказать спасибо телеграм-каналам местным.
I would like to thank local Telegram channels. They were informing us, just regular people on Telegram.
И в этот раз мы знали угрозу.
So we knew this time that the threat was coming. We knew.
Оно стоит у нас на пороге.
We knew that there was a large number of armor right on the border. So, but it was too fast, we couldn't take our paperwork and things like that. And so, folks, there's something wrong here. These people knew. They learned from local Telegram channels, and basically it's just local residents, all members of the same channels. They were warning each other. They knew that there was a large number of armor and soldiers on the border right next to them. They knew in advance. Well, my question is, why didn't Russian army know? This is just... Okay, I think I need some of this. American popcorn. Americans' fault. I know what they're gonna say. It's Americans' fault. NATO, mental support or some manipulation. Satanists. Popcorn is good for a change.
Уважаемый, Малолокня, сельский совет Сужанского района. Наши жители услышали в 3:30.
Anyway, this folks, keep on talking, and they're going to be talking for 3 more minutes. So if you listen to many Z military bloggers, so-called военкоры, basically there's chaos and panic. That's the messages they are projecting to everyone. Let me quote the biggest ones. Very famous Z military blogger Roman Alekhin. And he talks about firearms, how people should be allowed to own firearms. I quote, "And what about firearms? Again, someone will say that Russian people don't need it. We say again and again, it would be a different story if men had shotguns in their houses. But again, it turns out that the Russian government has not protected the Russian people, but weakens them with the law of current law on weapons. It is the law harmful to Russian people and the sovereignty of the state. Well, Alyoshin, I have some news for you. When you have an unarmed person and you tell him to do something and he refuses, you force him by bringing Rosguardia and saying, hey, buddy, if you don't do it, then, Rosguardia. And Rosguardia is armed with weapons and laws that allow to use weapons. That's one thing. But if that person is armed and is in possession of firearms, it makes all the difference. Hey, we'll block YouTube for you and then we'll mobilize you and your sons. No, you will not. Says who? Says I, the man with a gun. Oh, well, we'll go to your neighbor then, and he doesn't have a gun. We'll shut YouTube for him and mobilize. Gee. Again, I've been saying that, so I'm pro guns. I think that the guy was right. It's people, if they have guns, they can protect themselves, and who do they protect from? From the government. Okay. So anyway, by the way, I cover the news like that every single day. I make them available to patrons. Every single day, I carefully select 9 news that I find important. With my commentaries and analysis, I make them available to patrons at patreon.com. So become a patron at patreon.com. I'm going to put the link after this video ends at the description and in the comments. I'm going to pin it. Get the access and you will be learning news that matter every single day. Another story I gotta tell you. People of Krasnodar, that's a city in the south of Russia, are trying to support the good residents of the affected towns and villages. And they are supporting by making their picture and I guess sending their love or whatever. But this is it. Kursk province, Krasnodar is with you. What with that picture, they are trying to support this lady right here.
Моего дома больше нет. Не могу в это поверить. Ребят, вывозите, выезжайте.
Or they trying to support this woman right there?
Ребята видят, они не дают команды стрелять. Не дают. Врут по телевизору. Врут.
Those folks in Krasnodar trying perhaps this people support this people right here? Okay. Wonderful support. And then, I wonder, did they support Ukrainian cities when they were being bombed and razed? Oh, just a question, Another thing I found interesting, Maria Zakharova, the spokeswoman of Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, she made an official statement. I quote, "We demand from the relevant international organizations an immediate reaction and a strong condemnation of the terrorist activities of the Bandera regime." End quote. Now, folks, I'm feeling insane here. Russian Foreign Affairs Ministry appealing to the international community about Ukrainians rolling and taking part of Russian land. And what about when Ukraine appealed to Russia and to the international community Russia simply moved in and annexed 4 provinces of Ukraine, claiming it's Russian land. Ukrainians appealed to the international community. International community appealed to Russia. And what did Russia do? What did Russia say? They laughed at best, you know. And now they're doing the very same. What kind of result are they expecting? My reality here is breaking apart. I don't understand. This is crazy, beyond crazy, you know. The last news, I literally just saw it. Very interesting. Oleg Deripaska, old standing oligarch, a member of Yeltsin's family, one of the original oligarchs. He made his fortune right after the breakup of the USSR. Actually, he's a close relative of Boris Yeltsin. But enough about him. He just gave an interview to Nikkei Asia. Right there. I'm going to put a link. There, he called the war in Ukraine mad and said the ceasefire must be immediate and unconditional. What an interesting development. He is one of the few oligarchs who appointed Putin to power in 1999. And now, for the first time, he is the first oligarch who openly revolts against Putin, saying the war that, Putin is waging is mad. Interesting development. I wonder what his next move will be. Okay, I thought I've seen the crazy things. They can't get any crazier, but boy, was I wrong. I think this is just the beginning of some crazy stuff. I think that we are seeing just the first pieces of stinky substance hitting the fan. Oh boy. That's going to be a hot time ahead. Well, it's happened. The tsunami is here, and now the war is on Russian territory, and it's going to be expanding, Anyway, I plan on making short updates of the situation development in Kursk province in Russia pretty much every day, here and there. Not even live streams, but small updates. And now, please watch Russian crazy news update that I made last Friday. I think you will find it interesting and like it. I'm going to put the link right here.